Hey, hey. Welcome back to my Single Mom Vodcast podcast with me, Tiara. I'm here to conversate with you about being a single mother, about the different aspects of being a single mother, about cooking, conversation on our kids, conversation on our lives, conversation about our mental, social, spiritual self. So come on in and let's chat. I'm going to call this Tea Time Conversation with Tiara. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I thank you for all the love and support that so many people have been giving me and whatnot. And last week was a great conversation. We talked about managing our stimulus check. Well, how I manage my stimulus check. Gave some tips, some pointers that you may like. Let me sip my tea. Yes. So, tea time and conversation with Tiara. Single mom chat. Today, we are going to chat about comparing. Comparing ourselves to other women. To words and just whatnot. There's so many different levels of how we compare ourselves, especially as women, and then extra as being a single mom. We compare ourselves, and it's heavy. It could be really heavy, so you're kind of hitting yourself twice as being a single mom and being a woman, and you're just allowing other people to compare you with their hopes and their dreams, or with their own ideas of what a single mother should look like. So let's dig on in. Yes. So sip my tea. I try to tie everything, like I said before, I try to tie everything back into the Word of God. I find so many different things in my walk in this journey that is called life. I could tie it right back into the Bible. So there are multiple scriptures out there. Don't compare yourself amongst yourself. So many different scriptures. The Book of Galatians is another one of my favorite books that I like. And I am going to start it off with Galatians 6 and 4 and 5. And it says, "But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he rejoice in himself alone, and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden." So, kind of look down and you're like, that's loaded tea. Yes, when I say loaded tea, loaded tea. There is another comparison, and I read that out of the King James, like I said, Galatians 6 and 4 and 5. And there are multiple translations that will break that further down to you and whatnot. And so let's just look at the word comparing. Compare would be the Webster Dictionary. And what the definition, when I look at the definition compare, I was like, what does that mean to me? Because compare can be looked at as negative and positive. But when it comes to, when I think about that in a single mom's light, I think about that in a negative retrospect. I don't think about that so much as positive when I'm thinking about as a single mom life. So, looking at the word compare. compare means measure, or to note similarities or dissimilarities between two different things. That can be objects, ideas, and people. It means to examine. So you're comparing between the similarities that are good and the similarities that are not the same, and whatnot. So what do we do as women, as single mothers? And so I looked at a list and was like, what do I do? Well, or what did I used to do, or what do I do now? And one of the things that when I became a single mother at a younger age with my first son, way back when, I allowed people to compare my life to what they thought a single mom life should look like. Now, that's kind of a loaded question, because that could be good or bad. I mean, I feel like, and I've said this on my other lives before, I feel like sometimes people feel like single mothers are like of the plague, and that they have their own little island. I mean, that island would be hot if we did. Because single mothers, we have, like I said before, we have to be mechanics, we have to be chefs, we have to be accountants, we have to be nurses, we have to be doctors sometimes, we have to be a teacher, we have to be a businesswoman, we have to be the strong pillar, and all of that, and taking care. We got to be the psychiatrist, and the counselor. We got to be a lot. We got to be the friend. We have many different hats that we have to wear, and being the breadwinner. So when I looked at the fact of allowing other people to compare me when I was younger as being a first-time single mom, of what a single mom life looked like, that was their idea of how I'm supposed to fit in a box. I'm not supposed to do much. God's probably not going to use me very much, because they feel, as within the church, because that's where I did a lot of my comparisons, very shameful. Hey, let's put her in the back corner, and let's not allow her to socialize with anybody, or be over anything, or really participate in anything but maybe greeting, hospitality, singing in the choir. But being in the youth ministry, that's something that we do not want to allow her to be in, because then we're telling our young youth is that it's, this is okay. It's neither here nor there for me. I think that it would be good from my perspective, it would be good to have a single mother inside a youth program, because she also can give those kids advice of what it looks like to be a single mother, not really putting her down, but talking to them, the boys, the young ladies, the young men, about what it is to raise a child. Because so much in this day and age, it has looked like where it seems like being a mom at a young age is like a purse. You get a new purse, and so people are looking at it as something that is a purse, and that purse gets old, and you could put your old purse up and get a new one. But a child, you cannot do that. They are always growing. They're going to always be there. They're going to always let you know different things. They're going to take you on many different levels and roller coaster. You're going to feel anxiety, you're going to feel worry, you're going to feel stress. It's just going to feel a lot of different things. And so I would think it's okay for a single mom to be on the youth ministry, or children's ministry, or helping, being a part of it and whatnot. Like I said, again, I feel like single mothers, people want to put us off into our small little island by ourselves, and just you go over there and we're over here. We're the blessed ones and you're the cursed ones. And so when I looked at that, of how people want to put this stipulation or this statistic on me because I am a single mother, I compare myself to their particular views. And that brings me into my next thing that I looked at. I also I also sat up there and compared myself I compared myself on their wisdom that was not filtered or even processed through God. So I compared myself off of their own wisdom, and they compared me off of their own wisdom. They weren't comparing me off of God's wisdom and God's love and God's grace, and whatnot. And then so I looked at that as well. I looked at the fact that allowing the sight, like, let's take a book, and many people judge a book by its cover. It's like, if you don't have this amazing cover and whatnot, the book, you feel like the book is not going to be amazing. I have read books that where the cover was not as fantastic, with a bunch of great artists, characters and sparkles and good lettering, good fonts and stuff, and artistry and stuff like that. And it had like simple words, maybe a couple of little graphics and whatnot, and it seemed like it would be a boring book, but once I read it, it was actually a really good book. And the funny thing about it is the flip side. Some of the books that I have read that had like an amazing cover, I mean, the cover was like blowing me away, like like it was blowing me away, was some of the books that I was like, I could not even recommend, and I won't even read it again ever. Like, no, it was not a good book for me. So a lot of people judge a single mother based off of how many kids she had. If she has 4 kids and they don't see a husband, or 5 kids or 6 kids and they don't see a husband, then they automatically want to put a stipulation on them as if they are some streetwalker and whatnot. They also want to be like, oh, if they got 6 kids, they must have 6 baby daddies. And that might not be the case whatsoever, so they judge a book by his cover. And the thing about it, just tying it back into comparing, is that a lot of single mothers judge harshly on other single mothers, which we are we're a community. They judge harshly by looking at a single mother, and just the persona of how she looks and how she presents herself, you already judge her. You already passed judgment, you already made your mind about her without even giving her the light of day, without even giving her the time to express herself, to show you who she is within the pages of her life. Just because her life doesn't look similar to your life, or doesn't look similar to what the Bible is telling you. How do you know? You don't know the pages in her life. You don't know the chapters where she had to really struggle. You don't know the chapters where she cried and maybe tried to commit suicide or wanted to run into the wall. You don't know the nights that she had to sit up here and, she really had no food in her refrigerator, but she had to scramble up something to feed her kids. You don't know about the domestic violence in her life with her exes or whatever it may be. You don't know about that. You don't know that she feels inadequate when she reads, or when she feels scared about going to school because she doesn't feel like she can make it. So you really don't even know. You're judging off the cover because you are perceiving that cover might be great or that cover might be boring, instead of allowing yourself to read in her pages and whatnot. Then you want to pass judgment because you want to be like, well, your life doesn't fit the profile of what exactly a single mother should do, or what what a Christian life should be. Who are you to pass judgment on anybody at all? Because we have all short of the glory of God. We have all fall short of the glory of God. And so we, as single mothers, we should be more supportive, because if anything, we know, we have a feeling, and we know a lot of times of what that other single mother is going through. So you should have a lot more compassion on her in this walk. when you give her advice, that advice shouldn't come across as judgment. It should come across as, I want to support you in any way that I can to help you grow and be the woman and the mother that you can be to one child or two children. So you want to create that atmosphere of support rather than an atmosphere of comparing and judgment. And then it also, and then it really brought me back to comparing with the body fashion. I myself am working out myself. Now, when I was younger, I did compare my body to the magazines. This was back in the day. Let me sip my tea. Hold on, tea time. Thank you. This was back in the time when we had magazines. We didn't have social media the way we have social media. Social media was out, but it's so much more. It has grown so much within the last couple of years, even more so. And so, where you looked at magazines, 17 and, Vogue and Teen Vogue, and you looked at different magazines and whatnot, and you wanted to be the girl on the magazine. Unfortunately, my culture wasn't presented on the magazine as much as it is now, which I'm so thankful about that. You had to go to the black magazines in order to see your culture, which the black magazines weren't really mainstream, and they weren't really sold in your local store. You probably had to go to the Barnes and Nobles, and actually then you'll be able to find it, or you have to go to a hair place, and then you'll be able to find hairstyles. I remember not having Pinterest, and you use magazines to look at hairstyles, and that's how you did it. So I myself used to body shame, and I allowed other people to body shame me, and I thought, I want to be smaller, I want to be this and that. Well, it got a little harder when I got pregnant with my first son, and I thought, nobody's gonna want me, nobody's gonna want to look at me because my my body has gone through these different changes, stretch marks and stuff like that. Now I could care less. I am getting healthy with my body because of me wanting to keep myself healthy for myself and for my children. That's the reason why I am working out and trying to lose weight, because I want to lose healthy weight. I don't want to be small and just, no shape or whatever just to be losing weight. No, I want healthy weight. I want to tone my body. I want to feel good about myself, because I am a person that is physical. I like to run. Marathons and cross country and everything like that. So I like to keep my body in fit. I come from a very athletic family, so I like to keep my body fit. But I'm not doing it anymore to compare myself to somebody else's body. I see some of these single mothers, and I'm like, oh my God, just snap back, just snap, crackle, and pop their body. And it took me, my first two kids, yeah, I was snatched. My body just went back. My third child, it was not snatching. My fourth baby, snatch. What snatch? What was that? Like a snack pack. That's how it looked. I was like, So also with that, you try to compare yourself with how other moms, single mothers and mothers, how their body look, and then on fashion, see, I really never had a comparison too much with fashion. I'm eclectic. So one day I can be punk rock, one day I can be preppy, one day I can be, a little bit hood, one day I could be classy, I could be diva, I could be sparkly. I have a mixture of clothing wear. Sometimes I don't like to really matchy, but sometimes I do match, and sometimes I like to throw colors together and whatnot. I am just like fashion. I love fashion. So my whole thing is with fashion is that I prefer me to wear the clothes and the clothes to wear me. I'm wearing you. You're not going to wear me. So I will literally throw things together. I'll look at things and it, bam. It doesn't take me a bunch of years or time frame to really pick out any clothes. I just like get it and go, and just like, yes, this is me, this is what I like. I've always been really secure in my fashion sense and whatnot. Well, maybe not when I was a teenager, but I got stronger as the teenagers grown. And then on Instagram, oh my God, Instagram used to be the devil to me. Well, Facebook, but Instagram was, because it's nothing but a lot of pictures, and being able to just take a snapshot of somebody's life and compare that to your profile, and that it doesn't fit. These single mothers are able to do this and do that, and I'm like, wow, I'm not able to do that at all. How are they able to afford all this? How are they able to do all this and whatnot? I don't know, but it's like, well, if I'm not doing that, then obviously I'm not doing great. I mean, if they're able to do that, shouldn't I be able to do that? And it's like, when I thought about that particular question, I thought about me comparing myself to an Instagram level. When you look at an Instagram picture and you're looking at somebody's Instagram, they're always on a different level than you are. When they look at your picture and your Instagram, you're on a different level than they are. You guys aren't on the same level. It might be some similarities there, but you're not on the same level. You may occupy the same space and time frame, but you're not on the same level. So comparing myself to a level that I'm not on, and it doesn't matter if that level is high or that level is low, whatever level they're on, you're not on that level. So being that you're not on that level, you're comparing against a level instead of the likes. You're comparing against a level that you're not on, and that's okay. That is fine that you're not on that level. So I saw that I was comparing myself to Instagram level, which isn't good to be comparing myself to an Instagram level, because I will never reach that level. And then on top of that, you're so focused on the fact of that level that you're not trying to master the level that God has you on right now. That's like me being a teacher. Kindergarten, pre-K is a building block for kindergarten. Kindergarten is a building block for first grade, and it just builds on each other. But if you're not building and you miss some spots and everything like that, when you go to second grade and you didn't do first grade very well, it's going to be really hard for you to master second grade, because you were not really founded and you weren't focused on your first grade level work. So focus on the level of Instagram life that you're on. Not focus. It's nice to like and and say that's pretty and everything like that, but don't try to compare or measure up to what level they're at, because you will completely miss the level you're supposed to be on and what God has for you. And then so when I went to that, I looked at the fact of me comparing myself and my kids to other moms as well. Like, you brought your kids into that. You'll bring your kids into that and be like, oh, well, their kids act this way, or their kids act that way, my kids could act this way. No, your kids should act the way they should be acting. They're individual people outside of you. They should be behaving and listening and whatnot, but don't look at somebody else's children and say, well, being that their kids are doing this, my kids should be doing that, doing the same thing. My kids should be doing that, my kids should be doing this. No. If it doesn't work for your family, it doesn't work for your family. If it doesn't work for your kids, it doesn't work for your kids. Like my son, I would love for him to play certain sports, but he's just not really a big sports person. He's more of a reader. He's more of on educational side and whatnot. My daughter, she's into her own things. I'm trying to get her into sports because she's more, sometimes she could be a hermit and try to stay inside, which is so odd. But I'm trying to get her out there, and she's now in gymnastics and whatnot, and she actually really loves it and whatnot. But I am giving her options and testing to see, what she might like. And then I'm going to nurture and support the things that she's good at and like. Not compare them because I've seen somebody else's kid in this, and so my daughter should be in this as well. We tried out cheerleading for a little bit. She liked cheerleading. It was okay. We tried out ballet for a little bit. She liked it and everything. Right now she likes her gymnastic class and whatnot. So giving your children a chance to not compare them to your view of what they want and your dream of what they should be. I mean, I remember I dreamed that I told God I wanted to have, I wanted to have a girl, and I ended up having a boy. I was trying to compare that to this, and it was like, no, it's here. What I have for you is what I have for you. This is what you have and what not. Work this. Just because somebody else got this and that, is like, well, I didn't get a girl, so my life won't be like her life and not whatnot. No. Your kids are awesome. They're wonderful. Don't try to make them measure up to other kids or other families or other picture perfect Instagram stuff and everything. It's going to stress you out, and it's going to stress your kids out, and you're going to miss out on some beautiful moments with them when you can really enjoy them and not the comparison value part. I also thought about comparing my relationship, comparing my relationship with the father of my kids with someone else's, how their relationship is going as well. Trying to make him or her fit into, I call it the hope factor, of what somebody else's father, their kids are doing. They are individual people. You cannot compare. You only can look at everything at face value of what is right in front of you. Whatever that person is going through. Now, I can give you advice of what I'm doing and everything like that, but still, even the advice you have to filter through God, and you have to make that advice mold to fit you. You can't make that, you can't mold your life to fit the advice. You got to make that advice fit you. I also looked at the fact of, how long am I going to stay single? I think that's one of the big ones, because you see other single mothers getting in a relationship, and you're still not in a relationship. You're still single. You want a relationship. It's like, wow, how's she get a relationship? She got like 65,000 kids over there. Well, not 65. But she got like 7 kids. She got 8 kids, and she in a whole relationship. Well, I'm not in a relationship. I only got 2. It's a different level, different path, different function. You guys are 2 different people. What she's looking for and what you're looking for are probably 2 different, and most likely it's 2 separate things. They're not the same. They're not one and the same. So they're not gonna be same. So and if you think about it, sometimes rushing into a relationship without really vetting that through God is not good. So be grateful and thankful that you are not rushing into a relationship that is not meant for you. Again, because being that you're a single mother, you've already been in a relationship and that relationship didn't work. And if you look at it, if you be honest, because I have to look at it and be honest with myself on my relationship with the father of my kids, I rushed into it because I was trying to keep up with other single mothers being in a relationship. So I wanted to be in a relationship and feel like I want to be a part of the club. I rushed into that relationship and didn't really give myself the time and the effort to actually process and be informed about this man and about how he's going to fit and mold into my life and how I'm going to fit and mold into his life, and are we compatible and whatnot. It was more or less, not all of it, but it was some parts of it was, not wanting to be alone and seeing my other single mother friends have a relationship. And it was like, well, I want to go on a relationship. And it also, I was talking about this with my friend. We grow up as women thinking, pick white fence and whatnot. And how can I put it? I'm going to put it this way. We grow up as women thinking what we should be doing is getting married and having kids and taking care of family, and that's it. We're so exposed to, I feel, from my own advice, I feel like we're so exposed to that. We're exposed to it in TV. We're exposed to it in words. We're exposed to it probably around us. But I saw that women that are exposed, their family, their mothers, parents, whatever it may be, and whatnot, that expose their kids to adventure and getting out there and traveling and doing fun things with your family and whatnot. Exposure is key. Kids that are exposed to activities and seeing more of the world, when they get 18, they want to explore. They know they have time to get married, to enjoy themselves, learn about themselves, learn about the world around them, learn about their dislikes and what they do not like and what they want to have, and be more sure and secure within themselves. Also, comparing your path to the path that you dreamt of. Basically, we all have dreams, and we all have that vision board, or in our mind, or physically a vision board, where we're like, at 25 I'm gonna have a job, at 27 I'm gonna find that man, by the time I hit 29 I'm gonna have we're gonna be married, and about 30 I'm gonna have one child, and we're gonna have our home and our dog, and and this and that. And for a lot of us, our vision board doesn't turn out what we envision, because we did not filter that through God. I'm just being honest. We didn't filter that vision through God and say, hey God, by the way, here's my vision plan. This is what I dream that I want to have. But does that fit into your purpose, into your plan? Does it fit into what you want me? Sorry, gotta fix my hair. I didn't like the way it looked. Does it fit into your purpose and your plan for me? Have you vetted that through God? So comparing your current situation to your dream situation can be quite depressing and have a lot of anxiety and stress, because you didn't reach that goal. You didn't meet that dream guy. You didn't have, this amount of stuff. I know I've done it multiple different times, of my dream of where I wanted to be when I hit this certain age, or this plateau, or this and that. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. I know I did not reach back when I was 18 or 17 the dreams of this and that and what I wanted to reach. But I did reach this, and I did do that, and I did do this over here, and I did do this right there. And so now I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to compare my current life with a dream life that I wish I had. I'm going to compare it to what the life that God has for me. And pretty much that means I'm going to have that life. So also allowing, like I said, allowing social media to be the dictator of the level that you're on. They want to speed rush you. Everything's, fast. We have a phone in our hand, and everything's at our fingertips. We can order our food online, and it can be dropped off to us, or we can pick it up. We can order clothes. We can go to the store and, get that right into our car and whatnot. We can save so much time. Everything is instantaneously. We want things so fast. We want it now. We don't want to wait. We want to just rush through. I know I'm guilty of that. You want to rush through stuff, and sometimes I gotta slow myself down and say, Tier, is it that serious? Is it that serious to be right there on that level right now? And I'm like, you know what? If I'm really being honest with myself, I don't need to be on that level right now. Let me go ahead and still function and work through this level right here that I have right here. So allowing social media to compare the level that you're on and tell you the level that you should be on. Oh, well, you're 29, so you actually should be right here. Oh, you're 25, so you actually should be right here. Oh, you're 21, so you actually should be right here. Another thing that I want to look at and that I want to talk about is monitoring your speech, monitoring the way you talk to yourself, monitoring what comes out of your mouth, because you are actually comparing your life and comparing your value with the words that you are getting ready to speak. And right now, those words are dead until you speak it, and then you bring it to life. Then you give it wings, you give it legs, you give it arms, you give it eyes, you give it a purpose. So monitoring how you use your words to compare yourself. I'm speaking to myself as well, because I have to sit up there and realize that, hey, Tierra, right now you are comparing yourself with the level of words that you're speaking, and you're giving it life. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. We read that scripture all day long. And being that we read that scripture, we read it, but do we really put it into our soul? I know I've read that so many times, heard it so many times since I was young, but I've just started to apply it and put it into my soul, and know that, okay, wait, what kind of talk am I having with myself right now? Why am I comparing myself to words and bringing those words to life? And also, let me sip my tea. Also, we need to understand this. As you're speaking those words of negativity into your life, you need to understand this. I started realizing that one of the reasons, a little bit further back, the reason why I wasn't supportive of other people and single mothers is because I wasn't supportive of myself. It was so easy for me to be negative speaking to myself, that it was easy for me to be negative speaking to others and not to support them, because I wasn't supporting myself first. So the way you interact with people are going to, I believe, it's a mirror, almost a mirror reflect majority of the time of how you interact with yourself. So if you are interacting with yourself very supportive, positive, and whatnot, I believe, from my own opinion, that you will show a supportive or positive thing towards other. But if you're negative towards yourself, you're going to be negative towards other and be unsupportive to others as well. Because it says, do unto others as you would do unto yourself. So if you look at that, it says do unto other as you would do to yourself. So you have to do it first. It has to come from you. You have to reflect it like a mirror. It has to bounce from the mirror back to you. So first you got to learn how to support yourself first, and be positive thinking to yourself first, and don't compare yourself to negative words. So if you compare yourself to positive words, it's going to reflect back positive. So like I said, I'm speaking to myself as well on that. And then I also wanted to look at the fact of being rejected by God, because He won't give you that life that you see on Instagram, or you see your neighbor, or you see that girl and whatnot. I've done that, being upset with God because I'm comparing my life with somebody else, and I'm like, God, why you didn't give me that life? And He rejects it. I've tried to fit my life to fit their mold life, and He kept rejecting it. And I seen it as rejection instead of love, because He knew that, Tierra, their life is not going to fit with you because it's their life. Like I read earlier in Galatians 6:4, you have to, it's your own life. You cannot compare yourself to someone else's life, and you cannot try to covet other people's stuff. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife or husband. Even you should not covet their items or stuff as well. When you're wanting somebody else's life, you're coveting their purpose, you're coveting their plan. And God's like, wait, hold on. I made this purpose for them. I made this plan for them. I didn't make it for you. I made it for them. So when He's rejecting that, and He's rejecting that request, and you're trying to bulldoze heaven with your trying to be controlling with your authority, you're seeing that rejection as He doesn't love you. But it actually, that is rejection that He does love you, because He's trying to let you know your purpose is here. You're here. You're over here. It doesn't make you less worthy because you're not a multi-millionaire, and you may be, just, a regular, easygoing. You're just making maybe $100,000 a year, and that's fine. But you're touching more lives than maybe the multi-millionaire person is touching. So I had to look at that as well. And I also had to look at the fact of this. I had to look at the fact that the devil wants to get you so focused on comparing yourself with other people so you will not see your own purpose. Because if you're comparing yourself to other people and you're so wrapped up in their lives, you will miss God's purpose for you, his plan. You will miss it all. And if you miss your purpose and your plan of what God has for you, then you're missing the people that you're connected with. You're missing the plan. You're missing all the blessings, all the transitions. You're missing so much. But if he can focus on you comparing with somebody else's life, then he wins. You're not focused on your purpose, and then you're not doing what God wants you to do. God's purpose is always going to be fulfilled. So if you won't do it, somebody else will. But he really wanted to give it to you first. But you're focused on, other people. I had to remind myself of that, a while back and everything. Focusing on other people's purpose is making me miss out on my own purpose. And I don't want to miss out on my own purpose. So I hope you are enjoying this and whatnot. But I wanted to look at a couple of people in the Bible that occupied time at the same time with one another. And I want a good look at the relationship between Elijah and Elisha. Two different, same first part, 3 letters. The last 3 letters are different. Elijah is J-A-H. Elisha is S-H-A. Now, Elijah was a prophet who just popped on the scene. We have the Bible doesn't give any background except for that he was a Tishabite from Gilead. I might be saying it wrong and whatnot. God forgive me. He just stepped on the scene. He just like full-fledged adult stepped on the scene. We don't know where he comes from whatsoever. Now Elisha, we know where he comes from. God, the Bible gives us a background of who he is, and his background with his family and whatnot. He was a young man who came who was a son of a man called I believe it was Shabat. I might be saying that wrong too. Jesus help me. But he came from a wealthy father. He came from a wealthy father, good education and whatnot. If he would have stayed there, he would have been, running his dad's stuff and been rich and whatnot. So Elijah and Elisha, do you understand that they occupy the same space and time frame? Now, God was with Elijah a certain way, but Elisha was Elijah's successor, and God was still with Elijah. Now, people say Elijah was the prophet of judgment and Elisha was a prophet of grace, because when Elijah came onto the scene, there was, the rebellion, Jezebel and whatnot was trying to kill him and stuff like that. If you want to look at that, I believe that's 1 Kings. Is it 1 Kings? Oh, gosh. I believe it's 1 Kings. Oh my goodness. If you want to look at that, during that time in that relationship, if you look at the fact that Elijah wasn't trying to be Elijah and Elijah wasn't trying to be Elijah, honor and respect, between the both of them. Now, Moses and Joseph is another relationship that I want to, I'm sorry. Okay. I want to look at the relationship with Moses and Joshua. Now, Moses and Joshua, that's another relationship in the Bible that I do like as well. Moses, we all know Moses was the one that brought the Israelites out of Egypt, led them across the Red Sea into the desert, where they spent 40 years at. Now, Joshua was one of the 12 spies that Moses has sent out to explore the land of Canaan and whatnot, and he was the one that he was God, the successor of Moses. Now God had spoke to um, Joshua and said to him that he was going to be with him just like he was with Moses. But when you read that particular verse in the scripture and you look at that, he said he would be with him. He didn't say he was going to have the exact same relationship as him at all. He said he would be with him. So you got to look at that as well. That these two men, again, occupied the same space and time. Honor and respect to one another and whatnot. God loved them both and was with them both, but in different ways. Even though these, four men, like Elisha was Elijah's the successor, and so with Moses and Joshua. Joshua was the successor of Moses. They did not, walk in the same shoes, but God was still with them. Then it brings me to another one that I really like, which was David and Saul. Oh, I love David. I love his story. I love Joseph's story as well. David and Saul. Saul got rejected from God because he couldn't follow what God wanted him to do and whatnot. And David was a man after God's own heart, So, but the thing about David and Saul is that Saul tried to kill David multiple different times, but David was so humble that he did not sit on the throne for a really long time, but he said, I don't touch God's anointed. And God was still with Saul and whatnot and still let him reign over the Israelites, but it's not that he was with him, he still loved him. He still loved him, I believe, so showed grace and mercy and whatnot. But Saul was very jealous about and comparing, because Saul would be like, Saul killed 1,000 and David killed 10,000. So there was people will, if you let people affect you like that, they will compare you to somebody else. And if you allow them to come into your life and compare you to someone else, it will turn you bitter, or it will produce a jealous and bitterness in you, and you don't want that stuff to root inside you. But people, they will. Sometimes they do it unknowingly, and some people, they do it knowingly doing it. But if you allow people to compare you with somebody else, they will. They're doing it all day long. We all see it on TV all day long, of people comparing somebody with somebody else, probably in the same role or the same capacity, but they're living completely different lives. Same job, same role, but living completely different lives. But because people love that whole comparing thing. They like it. They like to compare somebody to somebody else. But I also want to use David again in one more space, in another space, and that's David and Solomon. So we already know Solomon was, David's son from Bathsheba and whatnot. We know that story. And Solomon was one of the wisest men, richest men that ever lived, and whatnot. So, but the thing about that I saw when his father died and he became a king overnight, he honored his dad and spoke to God, and before he burnt sacrifice of 1,000, he did 1,000 burnt sacrifice before he even did that. He came to God, letting him know, like you were with your son David, and your follower David, your servant David, and whatnot, and how much you loved him. He also that's how I feel. He saw that God loved him. He didn't ask him, let me be just like my dad. Let me have the same anointing as my dad. He asked him for wisdom to be able to lead these multiple amounts that cannot be count Israelites, because they're God people. He's like, who is going to judge them? Set the judgment be clarified through you, and you give it to me and whatnot. So I wonder if you are in this scenario, if you're being a Solomon or you're being a Saul. Are you jealous of somebody else's blessing? Are you jealous of somebody else's purpose in life and whatnot? Are you like Saul? Or are you like Solomon, where you're saying, I bless and I give honor to honor is due, but God bless me and my purpose? Or are you like Saul, when you're trying to kill somebody because they're walking in their purpose and you're not walking in yours? So you don't want them to succeed in their purpose because you've lost your purpose. So I had to think about that as well. Am I a Saul or am I a Solomon in this story? And when it comes down to David, am I jealous of somebody else and their purpose and I'm trying to kill off their purpose because I'm not walking in my purpose and I've been rejected from my purpose, or my purpose is lost? Or am I honoring their purpose and being supportive with their purpose? And am I asking God to give me wisdom and strength in my purpose as I go forth now in my journey? I also, before I close up with tea time with Tiara, tea conversation with Tiara, before I close up and whatnot, I want to say, because as I looked at all these stories, there's so many different stories, and whatnot. But these stories that I gave you, which is just the 3 stories that I gave you of some awesome, amazing men of God. And I should have used some women, probably like Naomi and Ruth, and stuff like that. But right now I'm just going to do these. I had to look at the fact that these men occupy time and space and time frames around each other. Elijah, even though Elijah was somewhere else in a different city, Elijah was still in the same time frame. Still in the same time frame, still in the same season. When he went through his season, Elijah was going through his season within the same retrospect down the street or around the corner or whatnot. They still occupied the same time. Because I feel like some people are like, well, you can't have 2 people on the same at this level. You only can have one person there. And as I looked at that, that's not necessarily true, because Elijah was, still developing and everything like that, and so was Elijah, but they were on 2 different levels, but they were at the height of their own level in their retrospective areas. So you can have 2 great people occupy the same space and time. That's why I looked at the fact that you can have 2 people occupy the same space and time. It doesn't have to be one or the other and whatnot. And so I looked at the fact that, hey, it wasn't like this person, died and passed away and then you come up. No, they were by each other at the same time. Some were for many years, maybe some were a couple of months or so, but they occupied the same time frame and same time. And I saw the fact that with Elijah and Elisha, it wasn't like Elijah was looking for Elijah, but he was working. He was doing what he's supposed to be doing, putting his hands to the plow and whatnot, and not comparing himself to other people's property and other people's stuff, because I'm pretty sure there were probably richer people out there, richer than him and whatnot. So was Joshua with Moses. He had started out just to be a spy, to spy out land, to explore land, and end up being his successor. Same with Solomon and Solomon and David. Solomon is the product of lust and murder. David killed Bathsheba's husband because she was pregnant and he lusted after her. So it's like that wasn't even supposed to, it seemed like that wasn't even supposed to be within his role to be a king, because of how his father and mother relationship started out. you know. So as I leave you with those thoughts and whatnot, I wonder if you are a Saul or a Solomon. You know, are you jealous of somebody and you're trying to kill off and be unsupportive and throw a lot of negative words their way? Or are you being like a Solomon, where you're giving honor to that and saying, God, can you bless me in my own respective lane and whatnot? So thank you again for joining me. Tea Time with Tiara. Chat. Just playing. Thank you so much again for joining my Vodcast chat about single mom life. I hope that you got some great information and whatnot about, you know, comparing yourself to words, comparing yourself to Instagram life, comparing yourself to dreams that you used to have, all that stuff. I just want you to know that you are, like I said the last time, you are wonderful, you are beautiful, you're a strong, changing woman and a mother. You are doing the best that you can on the knowledge and information that you have, the data that you have right now. You are doing the best you can. And if you are comparing yourself to Instagram, or comparing yourself to that mom, you know, down the street, or somebody, you know, your friends or your group and whatnot, or on TV and whatnot, just know you are awesome in your own purpose. You don't need her purpose. You are amazing in your own purpose. You have something to contribute to this world as well in your own purpose. And you walk it in your own lane. Because walking in her shoes, you're going to get rejected by it because it's not your life. It's not supposed to be your purpose. So I hope you and your kids have a wonderful Easter holiday. Easter is coming up. It's, you know, Good Friday and whatnot. I hope you guys are, you know, blessed. I hope God just does wonderful things with you and your kids, that you grow with him spiritually, emotionally, that you just draw so close to God that he's able to allow you to see a glimpse of your purpose. He doesn't give the whole full thing. He won't give the whole enchilada, but allow you to see how wonderful you are going to be in your purpose, and how it's going to connect and change to so many different people out there, especially your kids. I cannot wait to talk next week about some stuff. I have some ideas in my head. I don't know if I'm going to talk about them, but I can't wait to have you join me next week. Mwah, mwah. Have a glorious, blessed, fun resurrection weekend, Easter weekend, and whatnot.